When going through tough times and experiences, it is so easy to think, why didn't I? Why did I? And why me? We may feel that life has been unfair to us and question what have we done wrong in our lives. We ask the question as to whether we deserve what fate has given to us. Upon first thought, this sense of self-pity appears like a good idea and an effective means to comfort oneself. However, upon closer inspection, the situation is more bleak than hopeful. You engage in a spiral of negative thoughts, and the result is a feeling trapped and anxious within oneself. However, it does not have to be this way. Rather than focusing on the negatives and indulging in self-pity, you can focus on the positive why. For example, what is the why that will move you to get back up from being knocked down? According to psychologist Susan Dega White, loss, suffering, hurt, trauma are not things we get over. These are things we learn to put into perspective, and that in turn is a part of who we are becoming. It is about finding your why for not giving up. In order to cope with hard times and to move forwards towards a positive future, ask yourself these 3 questions. How can I learn from this? How am I a better person because of my struggle? How can I pick myself up from where I am now? When we focus on the solutions rather than focusing on the problems in our lives, we feel more enriched and gain a different perspective on our situation.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's Finding Answers. And I would like to start the program by asking you, how can you be inspired by what you're going to see here? How can we help you find answers, find solutions to the problems and situations you're dealing with? Well, we could start by saying that there are certain whys that are not worth spending time asking. For instance, why me? Why bad things always seem to happen to me? Well, if it's always happening, it's not about why. It's better to ask, how do I stop this negative cycle? How do I stop this failure? How do I put my life on the right track? This is a better question than just why me. But you can find certain whys that are intelligent if they are connected to finding the root cause of your problem. There's a study that says that if you ask why 5 times, you can get to the root of any problem. For instance, okay, I'm having problems in every relationship. They end up too soon. Why? Well, because in the beginning it is all good, but very shortly we start fighting and we have problems, we argue a lot, and then I end up giving up. Why? Well, maybe because I get too angry too easily. Why? Maybe because I have to admit that I am emotional. So, okay, I found the root. Being more emotional, I'm giving more control and power, maybe too much, to my feelings, and this is affecting my relationships. Anyhow, once you use why to find the root cause of your problem, and you say, okay, this is it. This is what is causing everything. Then the next question is, how do I overcome? How do I put this behind me? How do I move past this? So you can combine both and really find solutions. Well, tonight we're going to show you a live guest here who has a strong story of overcoming abuse, overcoming neglect, someone who was severely hurt by trauma, who was dwelling in the past, and was able to overcome, finding the root of the problem and how to connect with this. I would say it's the strongest power in every human being called faith. How do we connect with faith? How do we tap into this power? This is an important question to ask, one we intend to answer tonight, at least to give you a good idea of what faith is about and how it can help you really change your life. So we want to show you the story of this gentleman who had issues, who was going through problems and went through a situation that was very traumatic, but he also found out how to overcome when he turned to God and used faith. We believe this will inspire you. Watch this and we'll be right back.
I was experiencing a lot of bereavement. I had a very good friend of mine who some guys jumped him, they stabbed him in the throat and he died. Not long after that, later on, then my grandmother passed away. 8 months after, 9 months after, then my mother passed away too. That one really rocked me because that's the first person you know in your life. And then just about 8 months after that, then my dad died as well. Now, taken from there, that I've lost all these people, and then after the relationship I was in broke down, and I had a young one was abducted to another country as well, so everything had crashed. On top of that, it just got worse, where I lost my job, I had no finances, losing where I'm living. A dear friend of mine who was quite close, we walked down to, it was Dalston actually, and it was the market. When I entered the market, there was a group of people there, and what happened was, one of them particularly handed me this newspaper, and when he handed me this newsletter, something inside me said, look, why don't you go and have a look? So I went, and I saw a lot of people screaming and praying, and I thought, this isn't really for me at the time, and I left. But I left there with a massive headache and still not right, and things kind of got worse. And it came to the point where you've got nothing to cling to. But I remember when somebody else, I was having a battle, I was with a solicitor, and he turned to me and he had his book, and he closed his book and he said, Mr. Brown, are you a man of God? And I thought, let me go back to that place and have a look. From the moment I went back to the church, my whole life changed. I was being counselled by one of the pastors there who advised the chain of prayer. What else could I hold on to? I had nothing else. So I went with it. Today, I'm happily remarried. My career is going up and up. Everything around me is just good. And the main thing was, when I would go back to when I was in the market, the gentleman who actually came up to and gave me that newspaper, he probably wouldn't remember now, was Mr. Effie. That actually invited me. I've never regretted that day.
This is an encouragement for us to continue doing what we do, to put smiles on as many people's faces as we can. Because what we do, it's really a priceless gift that we can give to people, and the joy is to see them here with us.
So let me speak to you about another power, strong one that we have, also connected to positive faith. It's the power of decision. Maybe something similar than what you just watched has happened to you. You lost someone that you loved so much, and you are feeling the loss until today. You ask why. Why did this person die? Why did this happen? Why did he or she go so early? Well, asking these questions won't really help you overcome, won't really help. There's no explanation to why certain things happen. But there's many people that at some point they decided, okay, I can't be trapped by negative feelings, the sadness, the depression. At some point I have to move on because my life didn't stop. That life is no longer around, but I'm still around. We still have to live every day. And there's days ahead of you, years ahead of you, possibly. How do you want to live these years? Decide. It depends on what you decide. If you are going to dwell on the past and just think about it every day and be asking these whys that you may never really find the answers to whilst alive, then, many negative things will be happening because you are clinging to something negative. But you can decide that you won't be trapped. You won't be hostage to your feelings, to your heart anymore. Okay, that happened. I wish I could have more time with this person. I wish I could do more with this person that I, loved so much. But now there's nothing I can change about that. What can I change now? This. What can I do today? I can do something productive. If this person was around, if they love you, they would love to see you doing something productive with your life, doing something good, taking care of yourself, happy. They would, if someone really loves you, they are not going to enjoy seeing you sad and crying. So there's a time you can decide to put these negative emotions to the side, decide to be callous to these negative feelings for now. Don't let your mind dwell on that negativity and just decide to move on. Move on. Do it for yourself. Do it because God will be happy with this. He'll help you. And I am certain that you're going to be able to enjoy life much more. Tonight with us is our friend Lisa Hayes. Good evening, Lisa.
Good evening, Pastor. Thank you for having me.
Tell us, what are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
I found what you said about the 5-point plan of why very interesting, from the viewpoint of it being from a positive viewpoint. Mm-hmm. However, why can have two connotations. It can be also negative, and that is far more self-destructive. Yes. So when we are talking about why, and when people are going through tough times, it is so easy to sit around and play the victim card of why me, and what have I done to deserve this? We hear that all too often. It is very natural for us to want to wallow in our own self-pity. And aside from the fact that this can have detrimental results to our mental health, thinking such toxic negative whys can have a massive negative impact and suffering to our physical state also. So a very interesting study of middle-aged men was found that when they wallowed in the why and having the self-pity syndrome, they found out that this could be as bad for you as having, as bad for your heart as nearly smoking 20 cigarettes a day.
Wow.
Yeah, which was, quite a big feat. So according to this research in Finland, feeling this failure or sense of why, the victimization of why, and feeling uncertain about the future, it can speed up the process of the hardening of the arteries. That in turn can lead to heart attacks and strokes. So this is conclusive evidence that people should be focusing more on the hows of life rather than the whys, rather than the victimization of why.
Lisa, I'm a big believer that you have to couple faith with intelligence. They have to work together. When it comes to problems, we can't be emotional. Emotions, they have an important part in our lives, but not when it comes to solving problems. We find solution to problems using our mind, being more rational. Basically, if our whys are more connected to emotional part, being sentimental, emotional, we don't find profit. We don't find solutions by going that route. We find pain, as you were explaining. I agree. We find sorrow, we find grief. But if our whys are connected to rational thinking, okay, this is an issue, this is a problem, it's a matter at hand. Why is this happening? Because of this and this. Okay, once I found out, how do I practically get rid of this? How do I snap out of this? How do I overcome? Find ways. There are ways. But sometimes our emotions, they speak so strongly that it's like I can get this tablet, and let me turn to the side right here. If I put it so close, it's not a big thing. I can hold it with one hand. But if I put it so close to my eyes like this, it's like I can't see anything else. So this is what our emotions, they do. They really limit our options, our visions, and we believe there are many viewers right now, Lisa, that unfortunately, this is the root of their problem. They are using more their emotions, believing too much in what they feel, when they could be using the intellect, coupled, of course, with faith, with a connection with God, and get much more results. Would you agree?
I would agree. It's all about distinguishing between the rational and the emotional.
Yes.
And yes, the rational will always win with regards to asking why.
So if this is helping you somehow, and you would like to know more about faith, how to use it together with intelligence, maybe you were always taught that faith has to be connected to a religion. Listen, I believe in God, but I do not consider myself a religious man at all. There was a time I was religious, with no judgment, of course, on someone who believes in religion, but to me, it didn't work, okay? But what worked was to learn about this faith coupled with intelligence, faith where we understand things. And when we understand something, it's like you're pushing the problem away. You start to see things. Hey, there's light here. Hey, there's someone there. Hey, there's somebody watching now. So you get a much better view of things when you start having a more rational approach to what is hurting you than an emotional one. You can call us if you want to find out more about this, 0207 686 6300, or you can send us an email with a prayer request. Edward, I'm struggling right now with bereavement. I'm struggling right now with depression. I can't see a way out. I need some guidance, some help. Write to us, help@findinganswers.tv. Send us an email, and we are going to be praying for you also towards the end of the program, okay? We have to go to a break now, and we'll come back with more how versus why.
All systems are go. We're about to
Has the U.S. been steering killer drones? Missiles won't reach Syria for several months.
The pursuit of happiness. What will make you happy? Success? Fame? New shoes? Financial security? Love? Education? Independence? Family? Sometimes in the pursuit of things we think will bring us happiness, sometimes we fail to see that we aren't happy, or we never find it. We live in a world of people. Rather than pursue things to make you happy, what if we all worked to make each other happy? Wouldn't we all be happier?
The UCKG Helpline Call Centre is open 24 hours a day, every day of the week, all year round. If you need help due to a serious problem you may be going through, if you feel that you have nowhere to turn to and desperately need someone to lend a listening ear, then we can help you. It doesn't matter who you are or what you have done, your religion or race, your call will be answered by someone who genuinely cares about you and has your best interests at heart. We also arrange home visits for the housebound and hospital visits for anyone in great need of kindly human contact. Whether it is simply information you want or desperately need someone to talk to, we're here for you on 0207 686 6000.
all systems are go. We're about to
back to Finding Answers, and our topic tonight is why versus how. How could we use these questions, why and how, in a way to have a clear understanding of what practically to do to find answers and solutions. Let's see what the people around the streets of London had to say about this.
Definitely depression is probably number one.
They're arguing and they're talking negatively about each other.
What is more valuable than another? And so
you can have as many friends and families as you want. It just depends.
Is a common regret, like, oh, like I should have like asked that person out, or like.
Hi, I'm Chika here on the streets of London for Finding Answers. It's been said that a physicist never asks why, but how. So, could discoveries about your direction in life be due to asking how rather than why? I'm going to find out the opinions of the general public. Let's see what they say. Which is the better strategy, asking how or asking why?
I will say asking why, for me. But I think I know the best strategy is how, but I'm a why person.
I just feel that you get a better answer from someone if you ask them how and instead of why. So, yeah.
I'd say why, because I'd want to know why for a reason. Or
I would say how. I'm more of a how person, so I'd be like how. How, all the time.
How does asking how help you?
Because it kind of feels like you're gaining knowledge. So if you know how to do something yourself, then you don't need someone else to help you. And it's also being able to ask how to the right person. So 'cause sometimes you ask how and it's to the wrong person. So once you find the right person who knows what they're doing and ask how, and they're able to explain it to you and show it to you, then you've gained something that you can use in other situations or for whatever you need the information for. So, yeah.
I think asking why. I think it's important to have a bit of an understanding of why you're doing things and why things are the way they are. So for me, it's not so much just how and what the process is, it's what's the reason.
Pushed me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
Well, interesting opinions. People can say some quite intelligent things when they're giving an interview. But why is it that sometimes when a problem appears, what they do is very different from what they know? Once again, I have to touch on the subject of emotions. It's because we usually give a lot of power to our feelings, emotions. Actually, they are something very strong, difficult to control. But when dealing with a challenge, with a tough challenge, a situation, a problem, an issue, then we have to have the right balance and not decide with the heart, with the feelings, but really use the mind. If people would use these tools they already have there, experiences they have acquired in life, they would see more results. And I'm here with our live guest tonight, Tsesa. Good evening, Tsesa.
Good evening, Pastor.
Welcome to Finding Answers.
Thank you.
Okay, so tell us about your problem.
Well, I was very neglected as a child. My mum left me at the age of 3 with her best friend. And it was my childhood.
She left you with someone?
Yeah, she left me with her best friend. And it was in another country, it wasn't here. And so I was with her friend till the age of 10, until when she came and fetched me. But it was a very dark road.
Yeah. During this time, you didn't have any contact with her?
Not directly with me, but with the carer.
Right.
Yeah, the carer and her would always get in touch, and if I did talk to my mum, it would be under supervision. So I couldn't really say what I wanted to say.
You said from the age of 3 to the age of...
Yeah, from the age of 3 till the age of 10.
To the age of 10.
Yeah.
What happened in the meantime?
I was sexually abused by quite a few members. One was my carer's boyfriend. One was a family member. And
this happened while in that age?
Yeah, well, what I can remember from the age of 5, I believe from that age, what I remember.
And it didn't happen once, Not with one person.
It was throughout that time. Wow. It was throughout that time. And what happened was that as I grew up later on, even when I started living alone, and when I came here at the age of 17. And much later, obviously, I had a bit of a rebellious growing up. Again, I was living with relatives here, and then I left at 17 and started to live alone. And sort of drinking and partying became a way of life, but it was in a way to really shut away the flashbacks.
Did you try as a child during that period to speak to someone about it, to get help anyhow? Did you open up to someone?
On a few occasions, but I'd also receive a good beating, so I wouldn't repeat it. So as well as there was sexual, there was also physical. So I just learned not to talk about it.
You know, Tsesa, you're talking about something, and unfortunately, something tragic like this, horrific like this is happening to many people, mostly women, also boys too, they go through this. But listening to you, they relate to your story. I can only imagine how that traumatized you, but what were the worst consequences of this ordeal that you think?
Being imprisoned by the thoughts, by the flashback. I call it imprisonment. It was imprisonment, at least till I was about 39. And yeah, and at least until I decided.
How often did you have these flashbacks?
Every time I slept. Every time, most of the time.
Every night?
Yeah, most of the time.
So the nights, I can imagine, were like the worst time.
Definitely, and also I was terrified of sleeping in the dark or sleeping alone.
Why?
I always had to have a boyfriend, or sleeping in the dark would just bring this dark flashback of what was happening to me, a little child. And I tried to get out of it, and it would just be so difficult to get out from.
So what would you do? You had insomnia? Was it you couldn't sleep, or?
Well, I had a drinking addiction, so at the time.
That was the only way that you could deal with it?
If I'm out of it, I don't remember. So, but then being out of it as well didn't help.
Yeah.
Because
we had a topic here, interesting one, where we spoke about creating an issue to reduce an issue. That was a very poor solution, but it was something that you didn't know any better. You resorted to that. I can only imagine that made things even worse. It became an addiction.
Became an addiction, and you know, when I was sober, I would spend my time asking, why did my mum leave me? Why did she leave me with this woman? Why did she think she's her friend? It was just always, why?
Your feelings towards
yes.
your mother during those days?
I was very distant. I didn't have a relationship with her. That even when it came to the point where she came and fetched me from her best friend, who was my carer, and I lived with her. I only lived with my mum for about 3 years, but in those 3 years, there was a lot of distance between us.
Yeah.
She would try to get close to me, but I would just question, if she's really my mum and she loved me, why did she leave me?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
your thoughts about yourself, how would you see yourself?
I would see myself at the time as dirty, and I was very ashamed.
Mm-hmm.
I was very ashamed. I felt dirty because I felt I was robbed. Because
do you remember, Tsesa, like when it was the worst time ever, when you have reached maybe the end of the rope?
Yes.
We are going to speak about that in a minute. If this is something that affects you or someone you know, keep watching. Send this person a text message. Tell them to tune in. We're going to go to a break now, just to give you time to connect. We're talking about a very touchy, strong subject here, but she overcame this. How? is what you're going to find out after 3 minutes. We'll be back after this.
All systems are go. We're about to
Follow My Channel's updates on Facebook. Like your favorite videos and see pictures of your favorite artists. Access our Twitter @MyChannelUK and get to know what's on with My Channel. Visit tvmychannel.com and be connected to our world. My Channel, a whole new world of entertainment.
Do the maths. Changing your life is not as simple as changing your hairstyle, your shirt, or rearranging the furniture in your living room. You're talking about years of deep-rooted habits, behaviours and problems that are not going to change overnight. Many may say, think positively, but the trouble with that is that you can't do or change anything with just thoughts. But add action into the equation and the outcome can be different. Let's do the maths. Positive thinking plus action equals a change. Whatever it is, if the change is significant, if it's worthwhile, then it will have to take time, effort and homework from you.
All systems are go. We're about to
Welcome back to Finding Answers. We are already receiving emails where people are asking us to pray for their career, the challenges they have ahead. You can also send us a prayer request. We're going to be praying 10 minutes before the hour. So you still have time to do it. The email address is help@findinganswers.tv. And should you want to speak to an advisor, we are here live right now. This is a live TV program. All you need to do is to call 02-07-686-6300. Our topic tonight is how versus why. Which is the right question? Is there a way to combine these both questions and find solutions to tough challenges? Is what we're going to find out also speaking to Tsesa. So you suffered the abuse several times, sexual abuse, physical abuse as a child, neglect from your mother. You didn't love yourself. You couldn't forgive your mother, that you had flashbacks, right? Every night, drinking, but only making matters worse. So you were about to say to us, Tsesa, what was the end of the rope for you, the worst moment?
The worst moment was just feeling hopeless, and even though I was drinking and partying, but I had no peace in me. Mm-hmm. There was no peace. There was just being, not knowing what to do, where to go. And just always in conflict, emotionally, mm-hmm. So I'd wear a mask, basically. I call it a mask. A mask to just get on with day to day. Mm-hmm. And when I get in, it used to be me and the bottle, or, and I just cry and ask myself again, why, was there ever a purpose for me here? and just feeling really, really lost. And but at the same time, I didn't really have a smooth relationship with everyone. Sometimes, you know, it might be the slightest simple thing. I would take it really in too deep and think, oh, everyone's after me, you know. You know, I wouldn't look at my part where I did wrong. You know, I mean, in every situation, it's a two-way, and yeah. So that was like just feeling hopeless. Definitely.
Tell us, what was the turning point in your story? How did things started to take a turn for the better?
What happened was I got invited to a special event, a special event that was going to take place by an ex-colleague who I worked with, and I didn't also like coming out of my comfort zone, but I remember her telling me, "Oh, try it. What could you what are you going to lose? Come on."
This event was faith related.
It was faith related,
right?
And I also had no connection with faith. The only thing is, I knew that there's God, and somehow He looked out for me, because certain doors would open and certain good things would happen to me. So I knew there was a God looking out for me. But then I used to also question that again, like, really, if there's a God, why did let this happen to me? But I needed some form of help. I just kind of I was quite desperate at the time.
Right.
And I remember coming to the event, and...
Were you afraid of coming?
Yeah, very much. I was very late getting to the event.
Yes.
Thinking that...
All these second thoughts were there, I can imagine, right?
Yeah.
Really,
the why again, really the why.
But then again, you decided to come.
I decided to come. I remember the voice that my friend said, "What have you got to lose?" And it was true. What did I have to lose? And I didn't have to pay to come into the event. It was going to be a blessing.
You came. What happened?
Some kind of inner peace just touched me. I do remember crying at the time, but it was a cry of relief, of like exhaling, like, oh, I feel okay. I want to come back here. I want to...
Something happened at that event?
Yes.
That made you feel like you wanted to know more, you wanted to have more of that?
And I wanted to learn more.
Okay.
Yes.
And then what happened?
And then they had further events, and then I started to attend, and I started to learn steps on how to build a relationship with God. And
how did that help you?
That helped me have a good coping mechanism, because I had no coping mechanism. And I think it's important to have a coping mechanism, and it was a supernatural, just couldn't explain it. And because I didn't know nothing about the Bible and learning and listening, you know. Of course there were moments I resisted, but I realized that the more I was learning, the more I was getting peace.
The peace was the first sign.
Yes.
What else happened? What was the first radical change that you said, no, this faith thing is really working for me? What was it?
I used to be frustrated with the fact that I couldn't sleep in the dark. Why do I always have to sleep with the lights on or the radio on? So I put God to the test, you know, to sort of allow me to have the strength to let go, to sleep in the dark and not to be scared of the darkness. And I overcame that, you know.
Is that right?
Yes, I overcame that, and it was like, wow.
After that?
After that.
You made the challenge, the fear went away?
The fear went away completely.
You could sleep in the dark?
Yes.
Wow.
I could sleep in the dark. I wasn't scared in the dark. I did not need to put the radio on, or the TV had to be on.
Was that when you also stopped drinking?
Yes. Then next it was also, you know, letting go. I don't really need the drink, you know.
So things were, as you're saying, it was not getting rid of everything overnight. It was steps.
No.
But now the fear was behind you.
Yes.
The alcoholism,
Yes.
Behind you, out the door. What else? What came next?
Allowing to love myself, value myself, and have not be ashamed, and understand that the past is the past. Learn to put the past behind, and look forward to tomorrow and what's coming.
You found the strength to let go.
Yes.
Yes, something you couldn't do on your own.
No, I couldn't do it on my own before.
Let me make a brief stop here to explain. This inner peace she's talking about, this that she couldn't put her finger on, but something happened there at that event, is a connection with the power of God. God is power. God is spirit. Spirit means an energy, positive one. And there are certain situations, maybe you right now feel pretty much as she was feeling before, where you are desperate for help, but at the same time terrified, afraid to ask for this help. But what if I call these people and I don't know what's going to happen? You know, what if I find out more about this and then I believe in God and it doesn't matter? Listen, all these doubts, at some point, if you want to find a solution, to find answers, you will have to push them to the side and give yourself a chance. Because you will see the same way that God helped her, little by little, step by step, the same will happen to you. We are not afraid of telling you that your life will change. If you learn these steps that Tsesa and the other people we've shown you on Finding Answers, they learned, this can work for everyone. You will never be able to convince me that you are too far gone. Never. Because I have seen people with all kinds of issues overcome. And here is another evidence of it. So I want to encourage you, don't listen to this fear. Why do you have to let this fear be stronger than you? Decide tonight that you're going to be stronger than it. Give us a call. Speak to an advisor. I will ask the question that was asked to her. What have you got to lose? By simply picking up the phone and speaking to someone right now. Wherever you are, near, far, give us a call, reach out, send us an email like some people are already doing. And the process of change can start tonight. Only you can decide it, okay? But I guarantee you, God, you take one step towards Him, and He's going to help you out. He's going to stretch out His hand as He did for Tsesa. So how about your life today, Tsesa? Do you still have those flashbacks?
No way. They just totally erased. God really erased them. You know, they erased. And the biggest gain I have is that I have an assurance that yes, I may face problems and things sometimes may not go my way, but I've got God. I can always consult God. That's the best friend that I could always reach out.
How do you see yourself today?
I see myself happy and willing to give back to the world and about to
goals
learn.
For the future?
Yes, big goals.
Yes.
Yeah.
For instance, what is it one of the things that you intend to do in the future?
I really want to help deprived children. I'd like to open my own orphanage. You know, hopefully start maybe in Africa and then see what else, but here definitely as well.
Right.
Yeah, I have a passion for children.
How long did it take, Tsesa, for you, this process, from the day you started learning about this faith to the day that you could say your life made a 180-degree turnaround? Roughly, how long did it take?
About 3 years.
About 3 years?
Yeah, this was 3 years ago when I was carrying all that luggage on my back.
And how long has it been that you've been free from these flashbacks, the fear of the dark, the alcoholism, the low self-esteem? How long have you been thriving? Since when?
4 years now.
4 years now.
4 years.
It was not just a fluke. It's something stable.
No.
It's like never going back to what you once were, right? It's free from now on. Happy today.
Yes, very happy.
Okay, very good. Thanks for coming again, okay? And congratulations on this victory. You are an inspiration to people who are watching us now, and I'm certain that your story is inspiring them, okay? So this is it. This testimony, this story, is a way, I believe, God is using to connect with you. He's throwing you a lifeline. If you want to decide and grab it and come out of the darkness, come out of the fear, out of the addiction, the low self-esteem, the problems that maybe you have invested your time, your money, hard-earned money, your effort, and you found no solutions. But if you turn to Him, you won't have to pay anything. By the way, how much did you have to pay for this change to happen?
Absolutely nothing.
So this is it. What you need to pay is just the effort and the time to invest in this change. That's it. If you're willing, then God is also willing to help you. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to have Pastor Carlos Barcelos here with us, and we're going to be talking more about faith and pray on behalf of all callers and those who sent us an email address. If you want to pray together with us, prepare a glass with water. I have mine here, and in a few minutes we're going to be praying together for you. Back after this.
All systems are go. We're about to
Uplifting.
Diverse. Vibrant. Dynamic.
Powerful. Youthful. Informative.
Energizing. Passionate.
Motivational. Freedom. Lively.
Excitement.
In life, there are problems that just hit you with a blow. Everything crumbles away, and the heartache never seems to disappear. Everything keeps going wrong. You are in despair. What do you do when your hope isn't enough? When your single prayer seems to return unanswered, and the persistent problem is still there? Partner with God and make a chain of prayer. A Chain of Prayer is a weekly series of uninterrupted prayer and action to tackle the most stubborn of problems. Make the chain of prayer and turn things around once and for all. Don't give up. Make a chain of prayer. It works.
All systems are go. We're about to
Welcome back to Finding Answers, and tonight we also have with us Pastor Carlos Barcelos. Good evening, Pastor.
Good evening, Pastor Edward. Good evening to all the viewers.
And Pastor Carlos, one thing we find in common in every live guest we have, every story, with the most amazing life changes, from the worst problems to the greatest victories, they all have something in common. At some point, they learned how to connect with God. They opened up to learn the power of faith. This is the most transforming power inherent to every human being, faith. Every human being has it inside. Some have more, others have less. But according to what God teaches us, it's not about how much faith we have. We just have to learn how to use it.
Exactly. And talking about, you know, these guests that have been here in the program, as they've been speaking about the problems, as long they accepted the situation, I mean, they didn't ask why they were suffering. Because, as you were saying, this why question has to be used in an intelligent way. That's right. I was thinking about, for example, someone in the Bible whom we know very well was Gideon. When he asked why he was suffering like this. Because the angel of the Lord appeared to him saying, "The Lord is with you, O mighty warrior." But then he asked this intelligent question because of the suffering that he and his people, they were all going through. Then he said, why? I mean, if the Lord is with us, why has all this happened to us? So that intelligent question led him to go to a change.
Once again, this goes back to what I was saying here in the beginning. Gideon, to me, is one of the most intelligent men of the Bible. Because he heard it, mighty man, God is with you. But when he looked at his life, it didn't match with what he was listening. It sounded like an insult. And there are intelligent people, intelligent viewers now, Pastor Carlos, because intelligence is not necessarily connected to education. There are people who don't have education, but they think. They are thinkers. And they say, well, you know, what's the point? I hear about God, but look at the way my life is. But when we believe in God, that comes also with a responsibility to see change. If our belief in God is not bringing any change about, then definitely we are not using our faith in the right way.
Exactly. And, you know, this definitely is an intelligent question that you should ask. Why? Why are you suffering like this? Because this will lead you to do something. Yes. And then the next question, how you're going to come out of this situation. Then I'm sure that places where they can learn, like the lady who was giving the testimony, she learned how to use her faith, how to come out of that situation. And that's the reason why we are here, to, you know, tell our viewers. We are even inviting them to call, because we have advisors who can tell them how they can come out of this situation. They can, do things that will really lead them for a much better life.
So this is it. If you are watching us and you are tired of believing in God and seeing no results, I challenge you to do something. Stop what you're doing now. Pray with us. This will be a different prayer. Short, different but powerful. Let's unite our faith now together in prayer. Okay, it's the moment of prayer.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer for your health and general well-being, send your name and prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
God, I know that you are real, you are powerful, and I know that you love when we use our mind. Like this viewer who has been believing in you but doesn't understand why this belief is not being translated with miracles. And maybe others are trying to convince him that the time of miracles is gone, but it doesn't make sense because your word says that you don't change. So whatever this person is going through right now, this person who is praying with us, tired of suffering, tired of this life, I'm asking you to touch them now, as you touched Tsesa, who is here with us, and show them that you are real. Show them that there's nothing that you want, nothing that you're gaining with this person's suffering and pain, that you're not responsible for these problems, but you are the one who can rescue this person out of this hole, out of this darkness. So I'm asking you to do it now. To do it now. God, if you're hearing me now, then touch this viewer who is sincere, who is praying, who is saying, okay, this is it. This is the last chance I'm giving. God, then you must save this person now. You must do something because you are real. And we don't accept to believe in you and suffer because this is not your will for our lives. So we bless these people wherever they are. Receive strength where you are. Receive power, receive healing, receive hope. Something changes inside of you now. And we bless this water by faith. When you drink, you will be empowered. If you believe, just say amen and drink the water now. This is it. Our time has finished for tonight, but we believe that you are blessed. We are sure that the God who changed Tsesa's life will change yours too. Connect with Him. Learn more about faith. This is it from us tonight. Have a good night. God bless.